But before I introduce the members of the technical committee, I think that I should pause a while and acknowledge the four karatekas who are sitting there with us. So ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how many of us would have had the courage to don our gis and belts and sit behind them on a chair as these karatekas have done. So I wanted to give them a round of applause. Sometimes karatekas demonstrate shyness. To them, the only place they should wear a gi is in the dojo. It would have been good if we had more senior people donned in their karate gis. It would send multiple messages. But nonetheless, we are focusing on the young people because some of the youth that we have would have reached the age of qualification for participation in the various events at the Olympic level. And those age categories are 16 years plus and 18 years plus. I don't think that any of those sitting there would be 18 or 16 in 4 years' time. But there are other karatekas who are not here with us who will somehow fall into that age bracket. So in all the things that we do and say, we're not doing it for ourselves. Like Sensei Oliver pointed out, some of us will have to take a back seat and allow the younger folk to take over. And this is exemplified in the commitment of certain people. Not only karatekas, but parents as well. And so we have to start doing what we call a lot of succession planning. Who is going to take over the legacy that we are starting today? And it's very critical that we find ways and means of building capacity and building commitment among the young people. With that said, I want to introduce the technical committee. Myself as the chair of the technical director, you have seen the bios. We also have Sensei Wellington, Michael Wellington, who is not here today, or at least not yet. We have Sensei Victor Dudley. Sensei, could you stand, please, so everybody can see? Right. And then we have Sensei Gaspar Jean-Baptiste. And this committee is the one that is charged with the responsibility, along with the National Executive, and of course the various ad hoc committees that would be established over time to take us to 2020 Olympics. On the leaflet, or I would say the program that you have, there is a section that talks about the Karate Federation and its aims and objectives and so on. But we have to be practical about getting to the Olympics. It's all well and good to talk and have meetings, but we want to see tangible results. And so, in this respect, I will not spend too much time telling you about the program because you have copies in front of you. But just to let you know that the Olympic Games, for karate in the Olympic Games, it has been specified at the individual level. So there will be no team events for the first event. There will be a total of 80 athletes who would qualify from various countries, of course, to participate in the Olympic Games. At this point in time, I have not yet seen all of the qualifying criteria. But as the Secretary General of the Olympic Committee mentioned, there are 2 important qualifying events. The Central American and Caribbean Games in 2018 and the Pan American Federation Games in 2019. There is a document which contains 140 pages. And that is how serious the business is, you know. It's not just coming to a meeting and putting things down and going home. Everything has been documented step by step. I want to encourage you, parents, karatekas, administrators, to go to the website. You just go to the WKF website and you look for Pan American Games or you look for World Games, and you will see various documents that will outline the steps from the beginning to the close of the ceremony. And so on page 17, there are key dates that have already been established for the Central American and Caribbean Games. I'll just quote one or two of them. The deadline for the entry of participants is the 20th of April, 2018. So they have set everybody on the alert. The opening ceremony is on the 19th, and the closing ceremony is on the 3rd. And among the 140 pages, you will find all of the disciplines for the Olympic Games, various qualifying criteria, and every step that each federation should follow. So when the Secretary General said that we have to study, we really have to study. Because if you miss a step, you might go off course. And as he said, it's a very steep road to climb, but it is not impossible. And so in this regard, we have identified a number of things. I must tell you that while the activity has been established for young adults, 16 plus, 18 plus, there will be opportunities for those young people to participate in. There's the cadet games, there are the junior games, and there are the under-21 games. All of these are part and parcel of the World Karate Federation's activities. And these activities are held in various countries. So some are held in Morocco, some are held in Argentina, some are held in Bolivia. So they're spread all over. And so we have to choose carefully which of those we have to attend. However, at the national level, in order to prepare us for the first major tournament, which serves as a qualifier, that is the Pan American Federation Championships, May 23rd to 27th, we must first establish two things: who the athletes will be and who the accompanying officials will be. Because as Cynthia Oliver was pointing out, the delegation must consist of athletes and administrators. Secondly, we have to put in train a process to identify and assess the athletes. That process is being discussed at the moment, so I cannot divulge what exactly it's going to be. And so once we have that in place, then it would mean organizing a series of training activities, not only for the athletes, but for the coaches, the kata coaches, the kumite coaches, referees, and so on. So it has to be a total package. And more importantly, the coaches and the referees must understand and study what is required of them. Because at the end of the day, you might be called upon to referee or judge a particular event. And if you cannot show that certificate of achievement, which can be provided by the various regional organizations, then you cannot be entitled to serve as a referee or judge. And so somewhere down the road in September, We're hoping that we will organize a national referees and judges course and certification program. And by the time we have come back from various tournaments overseas, we'll have established contacts, we'll have established the resource persons and the facilitators who we can bring to St. Lucia and allow more persons exposure to become trained as a referee or judge. So the national team and the national squad will be identified, and there will be a series of training programs to ensure that we will select the best people to participate in the events. There's also another important championship which is on the calendar, and that is the 3rd Caribbean Karate Federation Championships. That's going to be held in Suriname. This one is also key because it is a lead up to the championships in 2018. Since you Oliver mentioned the Martial Arts Festival, the reason for us putting this on the calendar is because we believe in the principle of inclusion. For too long, people have been saying, but those fellas don't come together. Traditional karatecas, mixed martial artists, kung fu practitioners, aikido, taekwondo, judo, will look to the day when we will see all martial artists coming on the floor, training, sharing the ideas, sharing their technique, their expertise, because that's the way it has to be. We have seen too much division. And we're hoping that with the full establishment of the Federation, that we will take this as an important thing that we need to achieve. Finally, we have our own national tournaments, all of which will be organized along the lines of the World Karate Federation and in keeping with the principles and ideals of the Olympic movement. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would implore you to take a look at the program, share it with your colleagues and friends, and most importantly for the affiliates to disseminate the information. That is the role. The Federation will guide, provide the assistance when necessary, but it is up to the individual affiliates to educate their members. And if we do that, I think we will have achieved a lot. Thank you very much for your kind attention.